good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for your patience in getting started here. We are going to talk about advanced feedback, but more importantly, about video coaching and video technology and how one district's journey, that is MSD Decatur Township in Indianapolis, how they've had a 5-year journey with using this type of technology. So before we get rolling, I just need to remind you to share this session, tweet it out, Instagram. If you use MySpace, go ahead, use that too, okay? It's up to you, but please share what you learn with others. So I take a moment to do some introductions. My name is Don Rashino. I lead the team at Insight Advance since we started the company all the way back in January of 2016. I've been supporting educators for roughly 25 years. Come from a family of educators, my grandmother, my uncle, my dad. My dad was a teacher in Chicago for 51 years. It's in the DNA. Love it, passionate, that's my why. Passionate about education and helping kids. So I'll hand it off to Dr. Stephanie Hofer.
Hi everyone, good morning, happy to be here. I'm Stephanie Hofer, I'm the Assistant Superintendent in MSD of Decatur Township. Quite the opposite of Don's. I'm first generation born American, come from a family of immigrants from Europe, and I'm the first person to go to college in my family and to actually have advanced degrees. So in terms of the why, my dad used to always say, suffer 4 years, go to college, instead of 40 years in the mills where he worked in Gary. So in terms of doing what we do, I'm very passionate about making sure our students have a voice, someone that speaks for them, and someone that's going to make sure they make the right decisions for them. This is my 23rd year in education, and I've worked my way all the way up from special education teacher to assistant sup. So very happy to share our journey.
Thank you. Hannah?
I'm Hannah Carl. I've been with Decatur for nearly a decade in both teacher, then I was a mentor teacher, then a lead teacher, now a project coach. So it's been really fun to just play different roles within the district. And it's also been really nice because I've been able to be with students directly and help them. And then I know teaching is a really hard job, and so they're now supporting teachers in that role. So I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. Erica?
I'm Erica Sanders. I graduated from Decatur Township, so my story is a little bit different than Stephanie's as far as I've been with the township for a long time. This is my 24th year in the township. I was a teacher for the first more than half. I've been a lead teacher for 5 years and then just project coach for a short period of time, but enjoying it. And we still are the lead teachers at the high school, so we'll get to share some of our current story with you as well.
Thank you so much. How about a round of applause for our team from MSD Decatur? Thank you. So while I run a video coaching group, I'm not the expert. These are the experts, the educators who use these tools every day to grow their practice. So we'll focus on what they have to say more than what I have to say. But I'm going to start off with just a little something here. How many folks in this room know Insight Advance? Some, okay, all right. So Insight Advance has a software platform that offers self-reflection, calibration, peer feedback, formal coaching with data tracking, informal coaching, and so on. And this is all about helping educators be the very best that they can be. Just a couple of quick bullets about what it does. You heard Michael Moody mention something about Teaching Channel. Our platform now comes loaded with over 1,400 videos from Teaching Channel. Like I mentioned, we have data reporting to help track coaching activity, but also individual growth. That's not just at the teacher level, that's also at the coaches level and also a school leaders level. So again, helping educators be the best they can possibly be. You've seen our work in Getting Smart, eSchool News, Education Week, so many here, okay? So very, very firmly implanted in the video professional learning space. Stephanie, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your district so folks can understand it?
Sure. MSD of Decatur Township is located on the southwest side of Indianapolis, Indiana, located by our Indianapolis International Airport. We have 11 schools, 6 elementary schools, kindergarten through 6th grade. We recently redistricted. We used to have kindergarten all centralized. Now we have them within our elementary schools. We have 1 middle school that serves grades 7 and 8, and we have one high school, Decatur Central High School, that we focus on the small learning community model, and then we have an alternative school that connects to our high school in terms of letter grade, the Decatur Township School for Excellence. We are a high poverty district. Our poverty, back long ago, I'll use 2005 as a benchmark, we were in about 50% free and reduced lunch. As of right now, we are probably sitting at 80%, right around 80% free and reduced lunch, if not even higher. The last few years with the pandemic, families didn't have to fill out the forms because of the universal free food that we've had. So our population keeps changing. We are still mostly a Caucasian district, but our African American students are increasing. Our English as a second language is increasing. So we're hitting about that, 35% mark in terms of students other than white students. So we definitely have our challenges.
Great. And I would be remiss if I didn't introduce the superintendent who happens to be in the room. Matt, could you say hello? Matt Persecki.
Good morning, everyone. This is not about me. It's not to say about this, but I'm really proud of the team that's in front of you. This has been a great journey and a great support for what we do for our kids. So I'm going to switch it right back to everyone here, but thank you for the introduction. But it's really about the work that's happening on the front of the room. I'm just here to support.
We were joking. We were like, we could talk in front of all of you, but we were nervous that he was in there.
Thank you, Matt. Okay, and now just some questions for the folks in the room. How many of you are teachers? A few. Okay. Anyone in a mentor or instructional coaching role? A few more. Administrators? Okay. Now we know who we're talking to, guys, okay? And how many of you use video currently? Just a handful. All right, so I hope you get a lot out of this. Thanks for letting us know who's in the room. So I did start off by saying that MSD Decatur Township has been using video coaching for 5 years. There are 5 key areas that the district has focused on in terms of what do they want video technology to do for them. The first one is self-reflection. The second one is developing a growth mindset. Third is mastery of the teaching craft. Fourth, creating exemplar videos. And fifth, using this, believe it or not, using video as an alternative to in-person evaluations. So we're going to get crazy and actually talk about that here because that's a foreign concept for so many people. Like, how would you use video, instead of doing in-person evaluations? So we're going to take you through each and every one of those different subject areas. And then also notice on the screen there at the bottom it says to look for resources. We are going to give you a variety of different resources that you can take with you via QR codes. So have your phones ready and you can scan those codes on the screen. It works. If you're in the very back, it works. I zoomed in on my phone and tested this out yesterday. So you just have to zoom in a little bit and you'll be able to grab it, okay? So Stephanie, why don't we talk about this? The district has been, for the past 5 years, part of what you hear a lot of districts here at NELW being a part of, which is a networked improvement community. And that is focused on 3 levers for improvement. And Stephanie, if you could just share a little bit about this, it would be a great place to start.
Sure, and I will tell you, 5 years ago, with these 3 levers, because we're just going to be real in terms of our journey, with these 3 levels, we thought, what is this instructional leadership team? How is this going to help us? How is this going to support us? Our instructional leadership team in Decatur Township is made up of our collaborative teachers, our lead teachers, and our administrators. And they meet once a week for 60 minutes where they develop their rocks, and that's also in alignment with our district-wide goals. In addition to that, we have PLCs, and I can tell you we had PLCs forever, but we've never had PLCs that were intentional, meaningful, that actually focused on the learning at hand. We would talk about someone getting their power turned off or what are we going to do. The PLCs were quite different than what they needed to be. So this helped us have district-wide alignment in terms of truly increasing our student outcomes. And then instructional coaching, again, it's something that we say we're doing, But do we all do it the same? Are we doing it correctly? Could we be doing it better? Are we asking the right questions to make sure that our teachers are growing? So for us, I know I could speak for all three of us, we have grown personally tremendously in terms of supporting these three levers. As the assistant superintendent in the district, I oversee and review all of those instructional leadership teams, professional learning communities, our lead teachers take the lead on, and instructional coaching is cyclical in terms of our district work.
Fantastic, thank you. So you might wonder, okay, this sounds great, you're using video coaching, what's the impact? And we're not going to save that for the end, we're going to tell you right now what the impact has been. I'll just introduce these concepts and then I'll let our team here from the district talk about it a little bit more. There's definitely been the impact of the team being more reflective, and that doesn't just mean teachers. That's their lead teachers and mentors. Those are their coaches and their school leaders as well. This is something I think that will grab the attention of all the administrators in the room. They've been able to increase their retention of staff members as a result. And most importantly, the thing we're all really driven by, increases in student achievement as well. So Stephanie, share a little more, please.
Sure. For us, it's the video piece. And I can tell you that video for us at the beginning was, okay, everyone, we're going to have you submit, this 10-minute video clip. And teachers were like, oh man, do I really have to submit this 10-minute video clip? The pandemic really catapulted us into, wow, we need this video. This video keeps us current. This video keeps us connected to each other. This video helps us continue to do our instructional leadership teams and our PLCs and get that self-reflection even when we weren't in school during the pandemic. But our teachers are most definitely more reflective. They are working on mastering their craft, and through our lead teachers and our project coaches, they know how to reflect, because you can reflect, surface level, and you can reflect more deeply. So we're trying to get our teachers to reflect on a deeper level because we're all our worst critics. And in terms of increased retention, we're all having issues across the United States with educator shortage, but through our use of video and our coaching, we have been able to keep our teachers. Our teachers are saying, I didn't feel supported in other districts. I feel supported here in Decatur Township. I'm getting that coaching that I need. And the advanced feedback allows them to record themselves, submit a clip, whether it's a whole clip or something specific that they're working on. It could be academic feedback, it could be lesson structure and pacing, and then allow them to get feedback that they need in terms to get better. And then just an increase in student achievement. Can I share my data right now?
Sure, yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
so for us, throughout the past 5 years, in terms of reading proficiency across all of our grade levels, we have gone up and down slightly, but we have increased now from our high 70s to 92% in terms of our reading levels across all grade levels in Decatur Township, which is exciting for us. And our graduation rate had dipped down to 88%. We are now back to 91.9%. So our data is speaking well for us in terms of what we're doing.
Thank you. So you can start to see a theme here. It's about support. And video at first might be a little daunting for an educator. They may think, gosh, I can't stand how I look. I don't want to hear the sound of my voice.
True.
But once we get past that, I think Stephanie said recently at a superintendent's conference we were at together, if you had told me 5 years ago I'd be standing up in front of other superintendents and saying how great video was, I would have told you were crazy. It's a little rough in the beginning for folks. It's a little messy. But as Stephanie shared, the pandemic made a lot of us get used to video pretty quickly. And it is a powerful tool. It's research-based. It has impact not just for your own self-reflection and pushing your own practice, but being able to coach and mentor. And what's the common theme here is that the more that we support teachers, the more we can push practice. And getting teachers to reflect, it can have impact on your staff retention and most importantly, the student achievement. Helping educators be the best they can be for their students. And that's what we're driven by. Okay, So we're going to dig into those 5 areas that I mentioned in the beginning. Before I do that, are there any questions before we get rolling? Please.
Did you get any resistance from teachers? I know you're saying that they were frightened, but I mean real resistance, like, okay, I don't have to do this, I'm going to CTA, I'm doing all of that.
Yes, yes. 100% resistance. I mean, that's the thing. I'm not going to paint some picture that is not accurate. 100% resistance of, I'm not doing this, I don't have time for this, this is one more item on my plate, you're not going to help me, you're just going to use this against me, you're going to criticize me. So absolutely, 100% resistance. And we had to start off in baby steps of, okay, we're going to have you submit 10 minutes just to your teaching partner, not to any of us, just to your teaching partner, and look at each other's clip, or submit and we just want you to review your own. And then truly, as I know we'll get deeper into, when we're able to start using it for evaluations, teachers saw that as empowering. Oh, now I have control over what I'm actually uploading for you to critique me on and evaluate me on. And 5 years later, again, like I was telling Don, I would have said, no, they're not using it, they're not buying into it. Now it's just what we do. It's the work we do, it's how we do it, and they're just they're comfortable with being uncomfortable. So we had that productive discomfort, but we truly are now stronger together, and it's helped us become stronger together.
And you're saying 5 years, so, because right now I'm just working with the Coalition of the Willing, and sometimes I'm in a time where I can't be fighting with you over every little thing. So those that are willing to work, we're using them and pushing the work through, and hopefully we'll go through. When you're telling me 5 years, so that's encouraging to me, that, it wasn't something like, 1 year.
You're in the beginning of your journey, right? You're in the beginning of the journey and you're building those champions, those early adopters, and those are the folks that usually help those ideas spread.
You will, and you'll
So
see
you'll get
those
there.
pockets, because we had one elementary school that took off. Our Valley Mills Elementary School was like, ooh, we like video. It was a newer staff, and they were all about it. So then other teachers were like, oh, you're okay with this? Why are you okay with this? And it helped grow from there. When peers tell each other it's okay, it was a much different scenario than when we're saying, hey, it's good, just listen to us, we're going to reflect and evaluate you on it. So
Also purpose, when they know the purpose and that they're really getting coaching and feedback out of it. So really, I know at the high school we've made a real big push to make sure that we're getting feedback on it, and that we never have you submit where you're not getting some sort of coaching feedback for it, so that they can see that it's, even if it's peer to peer, we're going to give you time to watch each other's, give each other feedback. We're not just saying it's another thing to do. We do that in PLC, so we work it in so that they can see each other and learn from each other in a positive way, but also that we as coaches have also seen it and given you some feedback as well. It's really important, and we get to watch a lot of videos.
Thank you for that question. We're going to leave time at the end of this for all of your questions after you get a chance to hear what we have to say. So I'm going to jump in on self-reflection. Since there are so many folks in here that are new to using video, usually one of the questions we get is just, how do you capture it? Some people will just use the camera on their laptops to capture it, but Insight Advance has an iOS app and an Android app. So if you were one of the lucky ones who sat in the front, you have those little tripods. Those are for your phone. We have a lot of teachers that just prop that in the tripod, set it up. Maybe they are filming just themselves in the beginning, but what's more important is filming how the students are reacting to what the teacher is showing. So they may set it up in a corner of the classroom. So that's how easy it is to capture it, just on your phone like you would film a normal video. We will talk a little bit more, I think, from Hannah and Erica's perspective about how you get past that hesitation. But one of the things that we also are often asked is, how long should the video be? Well, the mistake that's made in the beginning is people are capturing 45, 50 minutes of video. What is technology supposed to do for us? It's supposed to be something that supports us, makes us work smarter, not harder, quicker. Nobody has time to sit and watch a 45-minute video, let alone upload one. So you know how your cameras work and how hard it is to share video or have a good connection for that. That's not the main driver here. The main driver is keep the videos focused, 10 to 15 minutes. When we were building this product, we would ask people who coach or observe teachers, when you do a walkthrough in a classroom, how long does it take before you've seen what you need to see? And I see heads nodding already. Usually about 10 or 15 minutes is what we would hear. And the same thing goes for this, okay? Right? 10 minutes? I heard someone say 30 seconds. So that's sort of revealing. And we'll also talk about here, what are some of the look-fors? What do you actually want to look for when you're self-reflecting? So I will hand it over to the team here and let you guys get started.
I'd say at the high school, resistance was a huge obstacle for us to overcome. And all of this is so relevant to each other. So getting past that hesitation by establishing a purpose and saying, I only want 10 minutes, and say we're looking for how you're incorporating small groups, that happens to be our goals for the year. Giving them what we're looking for removes some of the barriers. It makes them a little more comfortable. Okay, you're not just going to watch 45 minutes of me and find something I did wrong. No, that's not what we're doing. And also thinking about how to scaffold both the comfort and the skill of reflecting, because we weren't comfortable at first. Even like from a coach's perspective with video, I was like, why do I keep picking up my coffee cup and setting it down and PLC's off? And it was just like a nervous tick. But teaching folks how to like get over that part and then reflect on what's actually happening in the video. And Erica was part of one of our rocks that developed a tool for folks to self-reflect.
Yeah, so we were asking teachers to self-reflect, and we did the generic thing. We were like, 10 to 15 minute video, self-reflect on that. Well, we didn't give them purpose for the reflection. So why am I reflecting? What am I reflecting on? Erica, I think the thing that I'm reflecting on is I'm never wearing that outfit again. Can you hear my voice? And I do encourage, make those comments, because sometimes you just need to get it out of the way. But then what we found was that we needed something a little bit deeper from them, not just a running list of this is what I was doing, this is what I was doing, this is what I was doing. Well, what are the kids doing? What's the interaction look like? So we created a rubric and some reflective questions, and I worked with one of the elementary school lead teachers as well. So this is something that we're using across the board. It's not just something that the high school is using. It's not just high school focused. And we talked a little bit about an exemplar teacher would be reflecting on the student data. So what did your exit ticket look like that day? And what does the data tell you about your teaching, as well as what is the video telling you about your teaching? So what's something, a little tweak you could have made to make things go a little bit smoother? So were your intentions clear with students? So these were just some of the things that we worked on, and giving them some reflective questions. Not that we want you to answer every reflective question. Here in a second, the rubric will pop up, and there's like 10 questions, and we worked really hard to narrow it down to just 10 questions. But we're really asking the teachers to pick 1 or 2 questions to focus on, not all 10. So what it was the intention for the video, and if you were going to reflect on it, here's some things that you could reflect on that might be meaningful to you, instead of just a running tally of this is what we did, this is what the kids did. Well, we can see what you did. What's the deeper meaning behind it?
How many people in the room have actually used video to self-reflect on their own practice? Okay. Anyone want to share out, how did that make you feel? What did you learn? Please.
So it's been years ago.
You want to stand up?
No.
But you did, and I say thank you. Thank you.
It's been many years ago, but it was for National Board Certified. So in that process, that was the major thing, is building yourself. And I just happened to choose the communications teacher, so she captured everything. So, but it was, I felt very lonely. I think I was probably my worst critic.
Sure.
But it was such a growing process for me to actually reflect on why I do, how I do, and then looking to see how I'm engaging my students.
Wonderful.
So it was great. It was great, but it was hard.
Yeah, it's hard in the beginning. Thanks for sharing that. You said a key word, though, that we hear a lot, and it's vulnerability. And there's a superintendent that we work with in Connecticut who says he wants everyone on his team, whether you're a teacher or a school leader, to get to the point where you are confident in your vulnerability. and that you're willing to say, I'm learning too. And video is a great tool for doing that. Anyone else want to do a quick share about using video for self-reflection? Anyone else? Okay, we can keep going. I don't have to push you if you don't want to. Okay, we'll keep going. So I'm going to actually now have you turn and do an activity here. So turn to one of your table neighbors there and talk about what do you look for and how can reflecting impact your practice, and then we'll do a little share out. So a couple of minutes, go ahead and turn to a neighbor. Purpose, exactly. Perfect, thank you. So get your cameras ready if you're ready for the first resource. Just for the sake of time, we won't actually bring up this rubric on the screen, but you can scan this and go right to it. Thanks to Hannah and Erica for providing their tool for you. There we go. Everyone getting it?
By no means is this the holy grail. Take it and tweak it as you need.
This was our second go at it, so.
Everyone have it? Yes. Okay, I'll wait just a moment. Just zoom in with your phone and you should be able to grab it. All right. Well, self-reflection is so important that we're not just going to give you one tool, we'll give you another one. So the screen is going to change and you can grab one more. This is a brand new ebook written by a variety of different educators, so you can scan this one as well. Simple ways to use self-reflection and video to grow professionally. So 4 different perspectives in one in this ebook. Again, lots of different tips about how to self-reflect in this ebook. All right, let's keep us going. And we're going to talk about now how the district focused on developing a growth mindset. And this is not just with teachers. This is how about our mentor teachers, our lead teachers, our instructional coaches, our school leaders, and our administrators. So how do you think you could use video for a school leader? Any ideas? Please.
I know for me, I use it in the IoTs to see, making sure the whole IoT is getting involved. So I use it as a reflection. Okay, am I doing most of the talking, or is my lead teacher doing most of the talking? Because we're really deep into the work, but making sure those teachers are talking, how often they're talking. So that's why I use it.
Excellent, yeah. Or if you're having a coaching conversation with someone on your team, also great to get feedback from another leader. Okay, so again, focusing on lead teachers and mentors and using PLCs to focus on collaboration. And that's something that the district has done extremely well. So
I will add in
Please.
terms of district level support, I like to go around and see all the ILTs in the district. I also like to see the PLCs. There's no way I could get into all the buildings. So I'm able to have the PLCs, through advanced feedback, they reflect, the lead teachers reflect on how it went, and then they submit those videos to me. And it's actually part of our evaluation process for the lead teachers where the principal watches them in person or through video, and then I do the same from the district level so that we can make sure that all of our goals are aligned district-wide, that our PLCs are consistent, because that's one thing that video has really helped us do is become consistent and focused and district-wide aligned. So that alignment for us was something that we were missing, and now through the use of video, we can make sure that everyone's consistently doing the same thing. So for Dr. Persecki and myself, we're not able to be everywhere all the time. This helps us really do that.
Well, and I think at ILT, one of our mantras is we go first. And so when we're carrying a video camera around, we're videoing coaching sessions, we're videoing PLCs, we're videoing ILTs. It's just, we're leading by example. That's what we do.
can you talk about your PLCs a little bit more, how they're structured and how you've used video to support them?
So at the high school level, we are in departments is how our PLCs run, so science, math, electives, etc. And so facilitating those PLCs, we help organize with a department chair. There's also admin in the room. So at any given time, there could be any one of three of us that are helping facilitate, but we all can't be there at once. What has been nice as a facilitator of a PLC with video is yes, I'm facilitating it. Yes, I'm there helping things move along. But then when I see myself on video, I find the opportunities that I've missed to push them further, like, so that then I can go back and ask those questions. It's also been really conducive in facilitating the collaboration of the teachers when the teachers video, which Erica has a specific anecdote there.
So I work with the electives department. So in one room at one time, I have the PE teachers, the foreign language teachers, the CTE teachers. Like, there are lots of groups working at the same time. So sometimes we ask them to video what's happening at their tables. But one way we've used video in PLCs is to find something we think is going to be a promising practice that's going to work across the board. And the foreign language department was using a specific strategy. And we had them video that specific strategy. There was supposed to be a specific outcome that went with it. They were all using the same worksheets, the same exit tickets, all of the things were the same. But how they implemented that strategy was different in each room. So getting to watch each other implement the specific strategies and seeing what the results were actually was more powerful to them. Then they were like, oh, well, maybe we need to start out in partners and doing this together in partners, and then moving to I'm going to do it by myself, because the kids that worked in partners really understood the activity. So the next time that they did the process over again, they were like, okay, so we're going to start with a small group, then we're going to go to partners, then we're going to do it individually. And they videoed those steps along the way and came back together and found that then they were more cohesive and doing it the same way and getting better results.
Right.
So.
And just one more step on top of that in terms of that last bullet, going back to that district-wide alignment. I know I keep stressing that, but for us in ILT, in terms of choosing building goals, what do you start with first? Do you look at reading, writing, math, not having a teacher in your classroom? I mean, there's so many things to look at. So this past year, through our summer work, I thought, okay, we are always learning and growing. So we thought, okay, it's my job to oversee teaching and learning and all of the curriculum instruction in the district. So we decided to focus on 2 goals as a district. That was the coaching, meaning everybody gets coached. Teachers, principals, ourselves, that we're modeling the way, that we're actually doing the work, that we're not just telling people what to do, we're doing it to ourselves and modeling it in everything we do. And that grouping piece that Erica and Hannah are talking about. Small groups for us are huge. When we look at our walkthrough data, we see teachers having kids just in the room doing things thinking, okay, they're compliant. But if they actually were doing some activities, turning and talking, maybe a stand up, hands up, pair up type of activity, then that compliance can turn to engagement. Simple little things in the classroom. So now in our advanced feedback, going back to that video and tying it all together, we're having teachers across the district submit their clips of grouping. And now we're able to actually, and we'll talk about it in depth more, but develop that video library of, okay, here's the grouping, here's how it's working across all levels, and best practice is best practice. Whether it's elementary or secondary, it's still best practice. And now we're giving you a variety of tools in your toolbox to use through video.
While we're talking about video being a great tool for an individual with self-reflection, you're hearing, how it can be used in PLCs. I love to bring this up because it's been true for so long, and education's now just getting on board, is that athletics has been using video to improve performance forever. Why can't educators? So where someone may take a look at their individual performance as a quarterback, well, that's one way to self-reflect. And, how am I throwing the ball? Am I, getting out of a sack? Am I getting out of the pocket? But then how does that quarterback function as a part of the whole offense in a team? And how can they be coached by each other? And that's what athletics have been using video for forever. And there is a real parallel in the way that educators can help each other as well. So what we're going to ask you to do right now is a quick activity again, turning to your neighbor. What ways can you encourage a growth mindset with your teams, your teachers, your coaches, and your school leaders? And then how can video encourage that growth mindset? So just like we did before, turn to a neighbor, maybe a different neighbor, discuss, and we'll share out. and you maybe have to stand up to share it. We'll see. Okay, what ways can you encourage a growth mindset, and how can video help you? Who wants to share out now? Somebody new? Please.
So as a member of Toastmasters, you don't know that. I do it all the time. I would video myself and I go back and I change this, and I realize I was only talking one half of the room and not the other half. And we can use that same principle with teachers. And I think it's important to let them know, okay, this will be shared with just you and me initially. Because if there's a best practice, you probably want to share it with some other teachers in the school too. So I think if we prepare the teachers to see the benefits of being more active.
Excellent. And there's something special in what you said there in giving teachers that confidence that no one else is going to see this at first. And that is something we hear from a lot of teachers is you can, in the tool, they can delete the video if they want to. And I know there's a lot of administrators in this room that may say, what? They can delete a video. That's great for the teacher because they may create 2 or 3 videos, watch themselves, and delete them. Why are they doing that? They're self-reflecting and self-correcting, and you haven't had to do a thing. They're pushing their practice, right? Okay, who wants to share next, please?
We talked a lot about establishing what is growth mindset, that everybody would know what that is, and then really looking at your culture. As Dr. Green said this morning, how important it is that we're modeling that as leaders. I'm willing to be videoed. I'm willing to erase mine that don't look so good, or and learn from that. So I think establishing the culture that this is who we are. This is something we do.
I really appreciate you saying the word culture. So, I'm not going to speak for our friends from the district, but with a lot of other district partners that we work with, it doesn't happen in the first year. Maybe happens in the second year, but as they use it more and more, they tell us this shifts the culture in our buildings. The teachers have more agency. They feel like they get to make a call in their professional learning, and it helps to change the culture to one of respect, trust, and feedback, and that is, better than I do, so critical in your buildings. One more, because we have several other things we want to share with you. Keep going.
Talked about how the teacher can grow by reflecting on their videos and maybe like storing video 1 versus video 2 and seeing how they're actually growing from video 1 and 2. And I like that they can delete or they can share it with a colleague so that they can gain that trust.
Right.
Culturally, they have to have that trust that they are growing as they reflect on the video 1 to video 2 and then eventually video 3, and they should be growing.
Wonderful. Okay, phone's ready for another resource. This is a blog post from a lead teacher in MSD Decatur Township, Jennifer Keller. She has a series of 3 of them. This is moving video observations from a requirement to an invaluable PLC staple.
This was the elementary school that really jump-started it for us in terms of just getting it off the ground. She really pushed the teachers to do so and even won an award.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
She did.
A few years ago, we had a kind of a crude contest who could upload and share the most videos, and it helped. It really helped drive usage and get people comfortable with using the videos.
Right. Our elementary people are always more rule followers. Secondary folks are like, no, I'm just going to do what I want, kind of stand over here. So we had to really push them differently.
But there are a lot of high-achieving educators, and if you give them a challenge, they're going to rise to the occasion. So, all right, let's keep going. All right, developing mastery. So I'll just introduce this a little bit, and then I'll hand it off to the team. But this is something that Stephanie has shared with me. We want to give a vision to our staff members and showing them what's possible. Where can you take your practice, and how can you really master the craft? And we were just talking about those high achievers and the high flyers. How can this help them a little bit more? And then also, how can we coach coaches? Again, we may start with the teachers, but if we're not helping coaches and calibrating coaches, this is something we don't talk about enough. How do we calibrate on the frameworks we use? That's critical, because if we don't calibrate, our observations, our coaching might be fundamentally unbalanced or unfair. And then also we'll talk a little bit about building a district-wide vocabulary when it comes to the actual craft of teaching. So Stephanie, why don't you start and then
I'll start, and if you ladies want to jump in. For us, it truly is just, there's so many different sections of things that we look at. Standards and objectives, academic feedback, lesson structure and pacing, teacher knowledge of students, I'm trying to think, teacher knowledge of content, activities and materials. You know, so what is it that we want to work on? You can't work on everything all the time if you truly want to master your craft and get better at it. So which is why we're focusing on different sections, you know, whether it's that gradual release model of the I do, we do, you do, whether it's moving from teacher-led academic feedback to students or student-to-student academic feedback. That's been a huge other shift for us of just trying to raise our standards, get our expectations higher, help teachers see different ways of doing things. And then the vocabulary for us, that's been, we were part of the E3 grant, now E3 Plus, but everything combined with advanced feedback and video has given us common vocabulary. We're all speaking the same language. It looks different at different levels, but we all know what we mean and what we're saying when we say the things we do. And that's huge because we used to have a huge gap in our alignment vertically and horizontally. So we worked really hard to try to close that gap vertically and horizontally so that we can have that alignment, and it's helped us tremendously. You guys want to?
As an instructional coach, I know pushing the high flyers bit, a lot of times for me, it's easier to coach a first-year teacher that's struggling because I can give you something concrete. Here is a strategy. You need to do this for sure. With a high-flying teacher, sometimes it's more challenging. Like, I don't know what your next step is because you're awesome. So we are our own worst critics. Using video and asking them, what do you see here? And sometimes they come up with their own coaching points and can push themselves further than I would have thought to push. And video's been super great that way, having them see themselves and reflect. And then we can discuss like, okay, now how can we make that happen? How can I support you? So it's been really great for high flyers for sure.
And when we talk about coaching the coaches, like I said, we are big believers in that we go first. And so being able to send my coaching session that I'm having with a teacher and getting feedback from her, and we give feedback to each other all the time because we're both in high school and we see each other. But I sent mine to the coach who was in our kindergarten center. And she gave me feedback on coaching that high school teacher, and I gave her feedback on hers. And then before we turn it into evaluation, we can then have a variety of things to choose from. We've self-reflected on it, feel good about what we're turning in for those evaluations as well. So it's been really helpful. We coach our principals. We joked whenever we had a different project coach. We were talking about having a new principal, and she was like, well, part of your job is to coach him as well. And when I thought about it in that way, I was like, you're right. And part of his job is to coach me. And so being able to use video in that way has also been helpful as well, looking at ILTs together, looking at PLCs together, looking at coaching sessions together. It's all helpful to get that feedback.
And I will say we meet weekly ourselves with a team, and they're like, Dr. Hofer, how much input do you want from us? You know, on things that I'm saying and asking for, and I'm like, be you, tell me. I don't know everything. Heavens, I mean, so they give me their feedback. Here's what we need to work on. Here's what we're seeing across the district, and we just work as a team.
Excellent. So one more quick activity. Talk to each other about how you are supporting your teachers and your coaches in mastering their craft in your schools, and we'll do a quick share out. Take 2 or 3 minutes because time is flying by. Okay, let's get back together. And who wants to share? Maybe somebody new, please. How are you supporting your teachers, your coaches, your leaders in mastering their craft? Someone new, please.
I'd be happy to share. So we just finished Rock 1 of the E3 Plus grant. I'm a brand new principal. So one way we talked about calibration, so that was like our first 9 weeks. We worked on identifying effective tier 1, going into every single classroom for at least 30 minutes, really calibrating, really noticing and wondering. And every time we left a classroom, we always left positives, just so it wasn't so daunting to the teachers. And then we started collecting data on like school-wide, what were things we were seeing, various highlights and then areas of need of improvement. We did a teacher survey. Actually, tomorrow we're having teacher-led PD for our district-wide PD day. That is directly tied to our observation data as well as what teachers are reporting they need. Separately, our coaches, they go to like weekly meetings, they go to training, they get coached. And Rock 2 actually has to do with video coaching, which is why I'm so excited about the resources and being here. But that, like what you all just shared about coaches sending it amongst yourselves, I can see that working even at a principal level. I'll be more inclined to share it with a colleague I'm close to who will give me honest feedback so that I can grow, but I can see that working as our next step. So thank you for sharing.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. One more resource here for you. This is yet another blog post coming out of your district. How sharing video shows what's possible for teachers and students. So go ahead and give that a quick scan. And just on a time check, we have about 15 minutes left and about another half hour worth of material. So we're going to cram it right in there. We'll move along. You got it? Everyone able to scan it? Okay, I'll wait just another minute.
I told Don 5 years ago at one of the first NELW conferences, or almost 6 years ago now, I'm not sure where we're at time-wise, but you know, that first advanced feedback, and we all sat in there. It was just like, here's the video, here's how you use it, and now we feel like we can talk about it forever and ever of how we've used it, and it's just incredible. The journey has truly been incredible.
Watching a district like this go through that journey makes our jobs that much more powerful. You know, we keep making promises about what's possible and what using this kind of technology, what it can do for a district. And I think they sort of believed us in the beginning. And, you know, like in the Ignite group, you guys are in the beginning of the journey still. There's a long way to go, but this is what's possible, for sure.
We believed you. We were just nervous.
Okay, let's talk about creating exemplars. There is the ability within advanced feedback to build your own resource library. So take those exemplars, upload them. You can then use them when you're doing more formal coaching to recommend it as part of your formal coaching. But it's also a tool for your instructional coaches, a great way to support your new teachers, a tool for just professional development in general, but also to share across buildings. So I'll ask that you guys maybe give us 2 or 3 minutes of how you're doing this.
And I know we've touched on it earlier in our presentation, but this is a work in progress for us. So as teachers, because there's no way you're going to come out of the gates and have them want to upload and have everybody use it. It's not practical, and it is vulnerable. So as teachers have become more comfortable, as we've become more focused on what we're looking for, you know, if it's something on, you know, an exit ticket, or if it's something on an assessment or grouping, or maybe just the We Do section of presenting instructional content, we have them submit the videos, and then we've been trying to build a library. And we use that library across our buildings because who better than to learn from than each other? And we have experts in our own building. So we don't always need to look outside of our building for experts on how to do things. It actually has really increased the confidence of many folks of saying, no, you know what, you are a rock star. We want to take what you do in your classroom and we want to show it to everyone. Or you know what, as the principal, you've done a fantastic job leading your ILT. And we can learn from each other and have other new principals that are just getting started watch that ILT. So it's really been a tremendous growing in terms of coaching at all levels, and it helps us build that exemplar library. We would, at some point, as all of you do this more and more, we would love to share across that networked improvement community, you know, as colleagues with each other so that we can see what other folks are doing. Because we always are looking to learn and grow, but right now we're just looking within our district and finding our experts on how to do things.
Like Stephanie said, we're at the very beginning stages of this and trying to get it going. What's been nice is our collaborative teachers, it's given them a forum to be able to share videos with us, get feedback, re-video if need be, and at this point we're at re-video, but you know, thinking about this particular thing or that particular thing, and then being able to upload another video. So also being able to show like where someone started to where they end is powerful as well.
One of the things that we hear from a lot of educators is they feel like some of the best professional learning they get is from the teacher down the hall, right? You've all heard that. Okay, lots of head nodding. Sometimes that teacher's not down the hall. Sometimes that teacher's in another school in the district. Creating this library of exemplars is powerful, and being able to observe, just using video in general. You know, even with these shortages, our staffing shortages and challenges, it's harder and harder to get a sub so you can go and observe someone. We're hearing that all the time now. So again, this is just another use case for using video. You can observe other teachers, you can have, you can get mentoring or peer feedback from a teacher that you really admire, that you've only met once, but you've seen them teach and they're amazing. You can share your video through our secure system with them and get feedback, or ask them to share one with you. And then over time, as the district is doing, build your own library. So as you can imagine, we hear this a lot about what other support can you provide. You guys are the lucky ones. I'm going to announce this at lunch, but I'm going to tell you right now, you heard Michael Moody talk about this a little bit. Insight Advance is coming together with Teaching Channel. So how many people know Teaching Channel? Everybody, right, okay. Teaching Channel has this amazing history of creating a library of exemplar videos. And it covers so many different subject areas, diverse populations. I don't have to sell you on it, let's put it that way. This is a great tool. So think about some of your teachers who may be a little hesitant to get started and uploading their own videos. Wouldn't it be great if they could just search for a video that fits sort of their situation or strategy that they're looking for? So let's see, we have just a few minutes. I'm going to sneak in here. Of course, I can't see my mouse now. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Well, it's not coming up with the right one. Let's see if it'll come back. It's not going to bring it to me. Give me 1 second, guys. We'll try this. Or we won't. Here we go. Okay. Nothing like technology in front of a room. Here we go. So this is advanced feedback. You folks know this. Most of the people in the room know this. You can upload a video, everything we've talked about. But take a look, there's a button here on the left-hand side that says Teaching Channel. And those of you that use advanced feedback in your districts are going to be able to click that simple button and access 1,474 videos from Teaching Channel. You'll be able to dig in, so I'll do a very quick example again for the sake of time. Let's say I was looking for a STEM video, but project-based learning STEM video, and I used that search term. Well, I didn't get one match, I got 69 matches. So what do we have here? Well, let's look at this one. It's a 34-minute video, so the full class session that I can play right here within advanced feedback. So I'll do that. I'm gonna bring the volume way down. But not only can I play it here, I can zoom in and go full screen right within the same professional learning platform that you're used to using in advanced feedback. So a tremendous resource is coming your way. So two ways to build exemplars. You can do it over time on your own. Notice that near the top over here on the left, it says Resource Library. That is a place where you can put your own videos, but now through Teaching Channel, we'll be able to bring these other exemplar videos. Again, I'll say the number again, 1,474 videos coming to you to use at any time. So the next resource that I'm going to share with you is, give it 1 second to bring our slides back up. Any ideas on how you'll use Teaching Channel videos? Anyone want to share? Just what pops into your head? How will you use them? Go ahead.
We made eye contact, so I was thinking I had 22 new teachers on my campus alone, so a third of my staff is brand new. So using those teachers who, my whole 8th grade science team, my 7th grade science team was brand new. So going in here and finding maybe a 7th grade science lesson or something like that, and allowing them to see something that's within their grade level, is just one way that I was thinking about.
Perfect. And connect the dots. What can they do? They can watch that, they can model it, record themselves, self-reflect. Did I do what I saw was happening in that Exemplar video from Teaching Channel? Share it with peers. If it's so good, now you can upload it into your own resource library. So, keeping us moving, those of you that are not using video or don't use advanced feedback or Teaching Channel, ask for a demo, we'll show you. Scan that, and it'll take you right to our little demo request form on the website, and we will connect with you, using video, of course, and be able to show that to you. So let's keep going. We just have a few more minutes here. Our last piece is really an amazing achievement from the district. They're able to use video coaching as an alternative to in-person evaluations. Typically, I don't even use the word evaluation when I talk in front of a room like this because people get very uncomfortable. But as Stephanie started to allude to earlier, this was very pandemic-driven. But one of the most amazing things that they've been able to do is get the buy-in from their union. And maybe you can give a few minutes about that and how you did it. And I think most importantly, this gives agency to teachers, shows them and gives them the respect that they deserve. Allow you to say, yes, this is the classroom session or practice that I want you to evaluate me on, and being able to submit that. So if you could talk about that for a few minutes.
Sure. So I can picture it clearly. Dr. Persecki and I sitting, two of the only people in the district at times during the pandemic, because everybody was off and gone and, uncertain times. This is the beginning of the pandemic, and thinking to ourselves, what are we going to do? Our teachers need to be evaluated still. We have to have something on the books because it's tied in Indiana, it's been tied to growth, and you have to be effective or highly effective in order to get your raise, and it's truly just coaching for us. So we thought, what is it that we're going to do? How are we going to evaluate our teachers? And we started brainstorming, thinking, well, what if we just had teachers? I mean, they're doing learning at home. We're a one-to-one device with iPads for every single student in Decatur Township. So we were on the front end of everybody having devices and already having those at home with them. So we didn't need to go ahead and try to meet people and give them devices. So that was a strength for us in terms of having the technology. So our teachers were at home doing their learning, their synchronous learning, and it came to us that we can really use the pandemic as a way to just keep going. We don't have to try to use a past score or go back in different years. We don't have to try to figure this out when they get back or do something double. We can have teachers, if they're open to it, actually continue their evaluations from home and submit their evaluation on advanced feedback and complete it, and administrators watch it. So it didn't stop there, though, because we didn't have the buy-in or the permission from our teachers union, and we didn't want it to be something that people felt like was happening to them in this uncertain time of the pandemic. We wanted it to be joint decision and discussion with our teachers union. So we met with our co-presidents of the union, pitched it, and they were like, yeah, why not? Let's just try it. We don't really have a choice. If we were to have mentioned that and we were not in a pandemic, I don't think anybody would have wanted to do it. They would have been nervous or scared, but because we were in the pandemic and they thought, well, I didn't necessarily love my evaluation last year. I don't want that to count times 2. I don't want to have to do an extra one next year. We'll just do it from home. At the time, we did it, and the union supported it. They were behind us the entire time, and surprisingly, our teachers were good. So because we stopped school in March at that time, if you had already had your evaluation, you were okay. But for those that didn't, they had that option. And we gave lots of different options so that you didn't feel stuck. If you wanted to come back, we said, and have it when you get back, we'll do that. If you want your last one to count times 2, we'll do that. If you want to do it like this through advanced feedback, you can do it. And surprisingly, almost all of them elected to just do it through advanced video. And when they did is when we saw or transformation happening for all of us because it was unexpected for all of us. And our union co-presidents were like, oh my God, I can't believe they want to do this. Since then, we thought, well, we don't have to take it away. If you like submitting a video, maybe you're the type of person that doesn't want that principal right there in front of you and you want to submit it, you have the choice now of doing it in person or through advanced feedback, through the video usage. And we have a really good mix of people that like it either way based on what's happening.
I can't say enough about what an achievement this is for a school district to be able to do this. I don't know of many others that are at this point where they're using video this way, but I want you to be inspired by it. I want you to see what's possible. If you're starting at the very beginning of the journey with video and it's just self-reflection, that's great. It's going to take a little while, as you've heard, but to be able to get to the point where they've changed the culture in their district and shifted it to this point is an unbelievable achievement. So congratulations to Matt, Stephanie, and the team for this work. It is amazing. Notice that there's one more takeaway for you here. This is an Education Week article that they spoke with Stephanie, and she tells the story about how they were using video through the pandemic and how they were able to turn that into an opportunity to show teachers that they could actually use this video for evaluations. Mm-hmm. So we're on our last minute here, or last 2 minutes. Any questions from the team? Sorry we went a little longer than we thought we would, but it's all good stuff. Please.
I totally support this process, and I think I'm going to use it at my school. I do have a question. Have you encountered any situations with privacy laws, like when you video students?
So usually there's something that parents sign off on in the beginning of the school year. They usually have a form that says your student might be videoed as part of our professional development. So if someone says, oh, we don't want our student filmed, it's just a matter of where they prop up their phone or how they take the video, and that student is a little bit off to the side and just not featured. But other than that, no issues.
Yeah, we have truly never had an issue in the district either.
Please.
Did you guys as a district discuss protocols, rubrics for giving feedback? I know you talked about reflection, but is there expectations for feedback from teacher to teacher or administrator to teacher?
Mostly not anything so official as a rubric, but we've emphasized heavily, like, it's a culture builder, they need to trust us, so leaving that positive feedback is super important. And then as just the instructional coaches, we typically try to go have an in-person coaching session still. So we are leaving written feedback of maybe however you want to do a glow and a grow or whatever you call it, but then the in-person coaching is where it really comes in.
And whenever it comes to like coaching each other, like their peer coaching, we have rubrics for that already. So like there's a coaching rubric, there's a PLC rubric, so we can use those rubrics to kind of give each other feedback as well.
Well, we are at the end of our time. Please join me in thanking Hannah, Erica, and Stephanie.